Okay, hi everyone. So I'm going to do the macro journey based on this article that I was guided to write for a publication. So we're going to go through a journey of the twin flame union journey, which is going to be topped with the magician because this has all the elements in it. And so we'll start off with the magician. And basically this is where we want to manifest the love of our lives. So we have the lovers here. This is what we're working to manifest. And these are two equal, vulnerable, naked people who are divinely guided to be together with the sun shining on them. And again, the colours are very, very similar in each of these cards. So it seems to be balanced. Once you get everything balanced and you go on that journey, all the colours seem to match. So we're going to start off with the very first awakening card, which is the Nine of Swords, where you first become aware that something is missing in your life and that you long for something. You're yearning for that love. Something's missing in your life. It's empty and you're wondering what life is all about. So in this card it represents the figure who is raising his hands in despair to hide his face. He may be racked with shame, guilt about not being good enough, low self-esteem. And you have the 9 swords that are laid out in the background, which could be a wall, it could be a dark space filled with nothing. And the person cannot see their way out of this dark situation, basically because they're not looking, they're feeling despair, and it might be they might have had some heartbreak that's woken them up, or they may just feel like they need someone in their life. Something's missing, something's not quite right. So that's the first one, and in a normal position it's sort of external, but when it's reversed it's more internal, shame and thoughts about yourself and low self-esteem, and so something wakes you up to the fact that something's missing. That's the first leg of the journey, of the twin flame journey. And these can go on for like years, 25 years. Then we have the Ace of Cups, which is in reverse. But basically the Ace of Cups is one of the best cards in terms of emotional fulfillment to have, and obviously based on this card here there is a lack of emotional fulfillment, feeling like something is missing. So things like feeling abandoned and emotions that represent not being good enough and not seeing yourself as somebody that deserves love, maybe. So your emotions are basically giving you gyp, you know, and resisting high vibration emotions because you feel like you only deserve to be in the low energy. So we don't change because we feel threatened about changing our emotional state, things we've been brought up to believe we deserve or don't deserve. And we're stuck in this belief of I'm not good enough to even dream of something, you know, possible. And yeah, that's a very sort of sad place to be, really. And then you go through the the Four of Cups. So not even dreaming of being good enough. You still focus on, you know, the opportunities that have been missed, and you don't see the ones that are just right there, because you don't know how. You don't know how to turn around. You don't know how to look for the positive. You don't know how to be happy. So in a way, there is a refusal to see what's possible and the potential for change. And it could be that, you know, you're in denial. A lot of people that are at this stage, they're in denial that they need to change. And some people can see when change is needed, but the person themselves can't see it because they're in this space of the reverse Ace of Cups. But the opportunities are there, but it just needs a change of direction. It just needs you to look in the right places. But if you don't know how to do that, then you really, you know, don't have any hope towards doing it. But knowing that you can manifest your dreams, as indicated by the Magician card, can help you turn your vision towards more hopeful and inspirational ideas. So, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and so hopefully a friend might come along and say, hey, look, have you heard of the secret? Yeah, and so you get people recommending different things for you to do. And this will help you to become aware, because people are always helping you, and the angels are helping you, and people that want to guide you will come along and assist you when you're in that space. So maybe that's the beginning of your personal development, or at least your conscious awareness of personal development journey. Then you come to the Strength card, which is about once you've realized that you need to change, it takes a lot of strength to go on this journey. And sometimes we can fall into this personal development journey without really knowing what we're doing. You know, the first time you read a book that makes sense to you, and you go, oh my God, you know, if only I'd known this. But once you know this information, you can't really go back. So that's when you have to develop the strength to want to keep going forward with it. And because you can't go back, and then you end up in this place of not wanting to go forward, but can't go back. And so you have to have strength to say, okay, well, I better keep going then. So the fearlessness that comes with this strength, you know, looking into the lion's mouth, going to those workshops that reveal childhood traumas and, you know, places that you'd rather not visit, but finding mentors and spiritual advisors and support to help you get through that and face your fears, look the lion in the mouth, so to speak. So you start to become a stronger person, you know, and that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, is very true here, because, you know, you can either give up at that stage, you know, and keep staring at all the cups that are lost, or you can move forward, take the advice of those that have been on the journey. And if you're destined to on this twin flame journey, then obviously these are the lessons you have to go through. And then the next card that kind of tells the story is the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is about success and prosperity. And in a way, you do feel prosperous once you've started on that journey of personal development, because you overcome traumas and you get enlightened and you realize that things can change, and that once you do change, that positive things can come from it, and you feel lighter, more empowered. And so it's a strengthening, and it's a feeling of success and, you know, abundance in new awarenesses. So here she's holding a hawk in a gloved left hand, which shows she can now trust herself and her inner learning, but she's still protected from her fears. But she can go forward knowing that she's got these tools that can represent her future. And, you know, if she can do this much in this time, how much more can she achieve, sort of thing. So, or he or she achieve. And the bird represents, you know, the freedom, allowing the bird to fly away, but it can also protect her. So her fears can go away, she can release her fears, but her fears can also protect her from situations where she might otherwise be compromised. So not getting back into old relationships that were abusive, for example. So realizing that, oh yeah, if I attract this person, then it's just going to be the same. So sometimes when we change our patterns of how we see ourselves, we change the sorts of people that come into our lives. But those people that don't change seem to attract the same person, the same experiences over and over again. You know, the emotionally unavailable type keeps coming into their lives, and that's because if they keep resonating at that vibration, they will keep getting the same patterns coming to them of reflecting back. So once you change and go through a few transformations, you start to change the people in your life, and things, you know, you start to change and develop. The next card we have is Temperance in reverse. So Temperance card represents a balanced view of emotional content as depicted by the Two of Cups sharing water between them. So this is about balance when it's up the right way, but in reverse it's about obviously the reversal of that. Not quite in balance because you're in flux. You're trying to work out what is all this spiritual stuff about. I used to really think I had it together, but now I just don't know. And it's one of those things of the more you know, the more you don't know. And it's very confusing. So you might go through reading tons of books, going on lots of workshops, having emotions coming up, but it's just this toing and froing of information and emotions and patterns and identities, but in the end what it does is it strengthens your emotions. So you might go from one extreme to the other. A lot of people in their spiritual development can go through kind of what's akin to a sort of madness, you know. You lose your identity, you lose all concept of the world you once knew and were so familiar with, and so it can be very unbalancing. And that's part of temperance, you know, being unbalanced in certain aspects of your experiences. And in the case of relationships, it can also represent too much focus on the other person or too much focus on you and not enough on other people. Some people during their development get very into themselves, very sort of, my personal development, stay away from me, I'm healing, I'm too sensitive, Some people can get like that, so that's an unhealthy sort of balance. You can seem too aloof, and you can also not take responsibility for your own happiness if you're focused on, the world. I'm healing and I've got this trauma and I'm busy healing and everyone's done this to me. This can be, more of a victim thing. So learning the lesson of give and take, this card is saying, is about balancing, and this can take a while to learn a few lessons there. But balance is the key to any good relationship, as we know. And going through these stages, whether you find another relationship that's got a different dynamic, perhaps a higher one than the previous one, but still knocks you off balance, it's still a karmic, it's still someone that's teaching you balance in the heart space there. So we go through that as a way to temper our emotions and become more consistent. So then we have the Ten of Swords, the next one, feeling as though you're left for dead, and it can feel like that after all of the toing and froing of the balancing. It can feel like, you've been swished around in a washing machine, and what's life all about, and just finding it difficult to carry on with all of this personal development. It can be sort of, oh my God, when's it going to end? But as we know, it never ends. But we just get more skilled at going through all the different phases of what we now know as ascension. But it can feel like this when you first go on that journey. However, whatever age you are, generally in your 30s, 35s to 40s, it's when you begin to get, your spiritual awakenings. You start to wonder about life and what it all means. So the number 10 actually also means an ending as well. So you're sort of coming to the end of this exhaustion period, and you're beginning to balance out and understanding, well, actually you're in a place of dark night of the soul, and also surrendering. This is the time of surrender, when people surrender to the universe, which is kind of the best place to be. In A Course in Miracles, one of the things it says is the best thing is to say, I don't know what this means, and that leaves the door open for new learnings to come in. If you think you know, you really don't. So you're in this place of surrender, and that's when you can start to allow the universe to work its magic. Then we have the Four of Swords, which is when you start to rest and heal and start to allow and process things that have happened, maybe taking stock. And it represents a time when you're beginning to heal your wounds from the past. All of those things from perhaps this temperance period where you've left exhausted. Things like healing betrayal, injustice, purgatory, and also perhaps even a loss of identity from before. So that you start to move into acceptance, like the grief cycle is like shock, anger, denial. It goes through that curve that a lot of people teach in these classes. They the grief personal development classes, they teach you about the grief curve. So this is the one of acceptance. This is like, okay, let's just accept what's happened and how we're going to move forward. And also here you can see the stained glass window. All the love and the light is there. You just need to, this is where the person needs to rise up in order to see out into the future. So by resting and accepting the changes that have happened, integrating this new you can begin to build your strength so that you can eventually sit up and see the future possibilities out the window. So positive thinking and personal development come into their own in this time, and this is possibly where you start to get counselling, personal therapy, emotional healings, and other types of support that can help you. So you're in a very vulnerable state here, and this is where you have to be very careful who you choose to help you. And you know, in my career, I get a lot of people coming to me say they've tried this and they've tried that and it hasn't worked. Well, you know, this is the time of trying things, finding what works, what resonates with you, maybe even developing your own methods of healing. And this can take any length of time to heal. It can take, you know, depending on what methods you use, it can take quite a while. An experience of knowing what things you can use to heal you. But again, you will get guided by spirit. And then the next one, once you've gone through all that healing and, you know, you're in a good space, then we get the Four of Wands, which is the readiness for something new in your life, the readiness for new love and celebrations, connections with others. And obviously this is the 1111 card for the twin flames, but you might not know it at this stage. I mean, I only found out I was a twin flame last year. When I lost my job, I started doing tarot and the twin flame card kept coming up and I was like, I was channeling it and it kept saying, you're preparing for your twin flame. And I was like, ooh. So sometimes you don't even know that this 1111, I started seeing 1111 in 2010 and then I yearned for 2012 to be somewhere amazing like Peru, because I knew it was the year that stuff was happening. But I kept seeing 1111, and then by the time 2012 came, I got my wish not to go to Peru, but I was in a place, well, here where I live now, by the sea, in my own space, and free of that relationship. So, but with hindsight, you know, you see it all with hindsight. So the Four of Wands is the next card in the story of the journey of the twin flames. And it's a time of commitment to yourself. So it's a time of learning to love yourself, a time getting to know yourself, what you like, who you are, what your boundaries are. So again, still working on developing who you are and who you want to become, but with a lot more awareness and a lot more deliberate choice and you know, allowing yourself to give yourself permission to like things and get to know yourself. And then there's a castle in the back which represents the fortitude with which you generate communication with ourselves and others, such as truth and compassion and unconditional love. So from all that learning from the healing and that, you start to become a nicer person, a more compassionate person, somebody who's more understanding. This is where you start to develop all the qualities you would love to have in a relationship. But again, you don't know it's a twin flame relationship at this point, but you're starting to go through training camp. This is like boot camp for twin flames, where you start to learn things like compassion or unconditional love. And this can take a while as well. So, but once you do, you know, once your angels have got through to you and you've started to listen to them and curb your thoughts and your reactions and responding rather than reacting to people, then your angels start to say, you know, yes, by golly, she's got it. And they start to rejoice, and there they are beckoning you through the gazebo here towards the castle, and everybody there that's gone before will be on the other side. And that's your community that you will meet once you're through. You'll start to find your community of people that get you and understand you, where for so long you were feeling like you didn't belong. Like you say, you lost your identity, you didn't know who you were, and then you start to realise there are others like you in the world that have this same sort of experience, and then you start to fall in love with change and personal development. So that's the next one. And then the next in the journey is the Hierophant. This is where you begin to commit to something bigger than yourself. And then the idea of commitment and, you know, giving yourself over to source energy and allowing the universe to speak through you. And it's like, you know, you're marrying source, you're committed, you're learning the process of commitment to yourself, first of all, to your God source, and your self-love. So this is the idea of committing to a life of potential, because there will always be another ascension process. And so this is committing to a life of constant potential. You'll always be evolving and going through what you need to go through in order to reach the next level. And this is where it becomes an adventure. In the Osho Zen deck, there's an adventure card, and this is the point of adventure, when you start to commit to, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to follow this feeling, I'm going to follow my guidance, and it's going to take me to places I never imagined. So you've gone from somebody who didn't even know they had all this to someone who is now open to a journey of adventure and commitment. And, you know, it's quite a dopamine rush actually to know that even if something happens, you know, like the death card or the tower energy comes, you know that it's going to take you to an exhilarating place on the other side. So this becomes the sacrosanct marriage concept, in that you cannot change source, you cannot argue with source. You realise when you do try to argue with source that it doesn't work. So you have to commit, and you have to have that fool's journey with each day. You know, there's a fool's journey every day, because you don't know what's going to happen. When you start to live in the moment of source, the place of creation, you're always on the fool's journey, because you're always taking that leap of faith every day. And life becomes an adventure. And so you commit to love in all its forms, not just romantic or religious or spiritual or maternal. You begin to see love in all of its forms, because love is the highest thing that we marry, true love. True love. So true love there. So you learn that true love, and then we get the Knight of Swords, who then wants to rush forward. He's clothed in armour, and he suggests a readiness to do battle with his innermost thoughts. So this is where you've made the commitment, and this is till death do us part sort of energy, where you've made the commitment, you've married to the higher source, and now you charge forward, ready to do battle with anything that even tries to take you back to these old patterns. You fight them off with your sword, and you are becoming a master of your emotions, of your boundaries. You're knowing what you want, you're focused. It's, once you say, I'm focused on this, healing or love or this twin flame, once you have that certainty, you then have that determination and that clarity of decision to move forward. And obviously the less time you make pondering decisions that aren't in alignment with what you want, the faster you're going to move towards your goal with more clarity and definition. So, but this is more about the psyche, cutting out those thoughts, listening to your internal dialogue, making better pictures that are going to make things more clear about what you want, and deliberately sitting down and creating those images, bringing them into reality a lot faster, being more specific about what you want. And he's moving fast. You can see that the faster he goes, his cape is flowing in the wind, and there's a sense of urgency and determination in both the charge and the man. So the soul, the pure soul of the horse, is moving forward because it's spirit. It knows where it wants to lead you. You are determined to follow that lead, and you're going forward with it. And this is the thing of saying, I choose my twin, no one else, this is my twin, I'm certain, I want this love, I want to do everything I can to move towards my twin. So that's kind of that energy. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So let me just get that there. Then we have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. The Seven of Pentacles suggests all of that hard work you've done has been accomplished. That's in the right way up. Is Seven of Pentacles, all the hard work has been done. And you're standing back to figure out what needs to be done next. It represents the element of earth. So it's all the stuff that's manifested physically in your life. You're looking back to see, when did I follow my intuition? That worked out well. Yeah, no, that didn't work out well. So he's just taking stock of how much he's done and just reflecting this moment in his journey, because he's been doing all of this moving forward, but then you stop and you say, well, what have I done that's worked, and what have I done that needs to change and improve? And also checking to see what has manifested in your life. And I think it's the same forward and backwards. but it's more of an internal energy looking, rather than physical manifestation, you know, outward. It's an inner understanding of what I've done internally, all this work internally, and I've learned this lesson and this lesson and this lesson, and I've got one more lesson to learn before I get my reward. And that one more lesson is the Two of Pentacles, which is, again, physical manifestation. It's earthbound, and it's contemplation between the two options. So the last step is to actually make the decision in the physical, because by now you kind of know that you're on a twin flame journey by this sort of stage here, the Knight of Swords, and also even this whole bottom row really is you're aware that something's happening. And you've got the Two of Pentacles, which is you either stay safe or take a risk, going beyond getting the rewards for your dreams, taking risks or staying safe. So he's got one foot on the ground and one foot up. Is he going to take the risk and go into this emotional turmoil, or is he going to stay safely on the ground? What's safe? Safe. So this could be where he's with a karmic and he needs to make the decision. The ship is on the rough seas behind, and it looks a bit choppy, but it's an adventure, it's an emotional risk. But he's wearing orange, so it's the sacral chakra, and it's where passion and relationships, creativity, and giving birth to new ideas and new experiences come from. So he's covered very much in orange, but he's also got a lot of red as well, which is, you know, security, stability, looking after his physical side whilst balancing the need to have this emotional relationship, sacral chakra energy. And then the green shoes represent the heart energy, and also the infinity sign is green, which is suggesting follow the heart, follow the green. And there's all green behind as well. So it's a backdrop of unconditional love, heart energy. And, you know, his head and his legs and his arms are basically in the physical, security, home, money, financial things, balancing all those things with the emotional love aspect, the emotional fulfillment. And then you've got the gold pentacles, which represent personal power, courage and empowerment, which is the solar plexus energy, gold. And then it sort of begs the question at this point, will he follow his heart, or will he stay safe? Will he go and take that risk? And that remains to be seen in a lot of current journeys at the moment, but then eventually this card becomes the thing. So in the article that I've written, I've only written up as far as this one because I'm dealing with blocks myself, so I can't write the lovers bit yet because I need to clear this last step for my own personal journey. And when I write articles, I channel based on my own experience, and when Spirit tells me when to write the next thing. And obviously I can't write this one at the moment because nothing's coming through for it. So we'll have to wait and see for this one, and perhaps it will make for an exciting story to unfold. So will he stay safe, or will he take the risk? this will be the story that we will see happening. So that's kind of been my journey, and maybe a lot of you feel it is the journey that you've been on as well, on a sort of a more macro level. Obviously all these things have their own personal content, but the general strategy, general story, structure is there. You start off in a low place, you get emotionally despondent, you're in this place of disillusionment, but then you get the strength to accept, start to find the strength to look at your fears. Then you feel more powerful and abundant. You balance all that learning with the emotions that extremes, going from one to the other and finding the middle ground perhaps, but it can leave you exhausted, and that's when you surrender, go through the dark night of the soul. Then you start to heal and find help, acceptance. Then you start to develop the qualities of unconditional love, compassion, start to become the love you wish to see. Then you commit to a higher source than yourself, so that third energy. And then you start to be determined to go into battle to keep that connection going. Then you take stock of all your work that you've done on the inside, and then ultimately you are you can make an informed decision based on all of that reflecting. And then, as we know, twin flames always come together, because that's why they came to Earth together. But it's how they come together that is the next piece in the story. And so they manifest their heart's desire, even though their brain might not know it, their mind might not know it, but their heart knows. That's why they came to this planet, is to be in union, to raise the vibration of the planet. So that's the story of the twin flame union lover's story. So I hope you enjoyed that, and any comments about your journey that fits with this, do let me know in the comments, and where you think you might be on your journey, which will dictate what sort of help you need. And you can feel okay wherever you are in your journey. You just know what the next step is from there. So thank you everyone for watching, and do let me know if you find this helpful and if it resonates with you. Have a great day. Namaste.